What is up, YouTube? Back with another episode of this pig. So we are today going to be working on getting these CV axles out of the equation, as well as any of the harnesses and anything basically holding this engine to the chassis, minus the motor mounts. So I want to try and get the CV axles out, disconnect the drive shaft, as well as get the exhaust off for today. That's like my ultimate goal, is to get all three of those things done. Going into the actual engine, I'll just set this down over here. I put this thing at top dead center, and I was looking for any signs of this thing being out of time or any issues with the VVT system, etc., etc. So what I found was there's actually a visible chunk missing from this actuator here. So that's an issue. That's issue number one, right? Number two was the fact that this thing was completely in time. So what I had hoped was the fact that this was actually damaged. It caused enough of a stretch on this timing change assembly that it was so far out of time, which I know now thinking about it is completely just bananas. Like there's no way that that could happen. But this engine is perfectly in time from what I can tell. So I want to just put that out there, you know, in case anybody has some questions from the last video, like, why are you pulling this motor? This is the reason why. As you can tell, I mean, it's all in pretty good shape. Like, whoever owned this in the past has honestly kept up on the oil changes, which is awesome, you know, to see. But obviously that didn't help. Pretty sure this is a factory high pressure fuel pump. You know, that could have had something to do with cylinders 3 and 4 going out. This thing had cooling issues at some point in time. Another reason why cylinders 3 and 4 could have gone out. Maybe it just got hot. Those two cylinders got hot and wiped out the rings. That'd be my guess. And yeah, I mean, that's probably it. So might as well just start getting to the CV axles. Let's do this. Update, we got the engine crane in place, ready to cherry pick this thing on out of here. So I think I got everything off that needs to come off, but we'll find out. All right, so there it is. We got it out. It's a little bit of a challenge only because of this motor mount here. Like I said, if I had just taken it out beforehand, you know, the top portion of that motor mount, as opposed to just pulling the through bolt out, I would have been in better shape and it would have taken me half the time. But live and you learn. So got this engine out now. It's just swinging there. I'm gonna have to take out the trans next. Gonna definitely need some help with that because there's no way in heck I can lift that by myself. Maybe I could if I, you know, hit the gym more, but that isn't the case. I haven't been in the gym in months, so gonna need 2 people for that. It's a 2-person lift job. Let's go. We got an update for everybody here. So got the motor out and it's looking very, very oily. So the next step is to start tearing off all the accessories, the intake, the exhaust manifold, and getting this thing as bare as possible, bare block as possible. I went ahead and started wiping down some of the grease, as you can see. I'm actually really excited to go through this entire front end and just degrease this thing, because underneath I know everything's been preserved and it's ideal underneath, right? There has been no oxidation. It's protected by the oil essentially, so it's gonna be interesting getting all this up. The plan after that is to take the head off, and then eventually, once I get the head off, that'll start the process of, okay, well, what's savable? Once I figure out what's savable, then that kind of dictates what do I need to build this thing up. Can't really find out until I just do it. So I guess without further ado, let's just do it, you know? Like, why am I sitting here talking about it? Let me get down to that point and then let's talk about it later. Here's the intake side. Oh wow, the valves are shot.
Check that out, huh? We got a hole there, and a hole there on the exhaust side. So this thing grenaded the exhaust valves. It's pretty cool, honestly. Makes you wonder what exactly happened to cause that. Was it a lean condition? Was it, you know, excessive heat? Probably a lean condition if I had to guess. So, yeah, pretty cool. What's up, YouTube? I'm back from the machine shop, and ignore my hand covering up that thing on the pallet there, because we're going to go over here to take a look at what happened and what the conclusion was from the machine shop visit. So my original intent was to bring this head to the machine shop. I knew that the valves were toast. I knew that the valve seat had a slight hole in it. It looked like it was burnt through completely. Unfortunately, that is not a repairable thing. So you cannot weld a cast head. These do not have replaceable valve seats. So this whole head is unfortunately just a giant paperweight. With that said, I started pricing out, you know, what it would mean to essentially get another head, whether it's a reman or a used secondhand head from a junkyard or something like that, and what that would mean to have it brought home, get it machined, pressure tested, make sure all the valve lashing is good, yada yada yada. The cost of that really came down to, you know, being plus or minus my time, you know, about $1,000 worth of effort and time and money. So I sat there and did some cost analysis and, you know, risk analysis, really. I sat there and said, all right, well, I can either go about finding and sourcing a secondhand head, go through that, pull it from a junkyard, spend my time doing so, whatever. I said, I don't really feel like doing that. I'd rather use, you know, what's available to me on the internet and have something shipped to my door. Right, so that's where this comes in. So this is a L3 VDT. It looks like it came out of a probably a CX7, just because I don't see any badging on this intercooler cover. As you can see, it's kind of beat up. You know, I'm not too impressed with how this was shipped. It's currently laying on its exhaust side. This is a Japanese motor. It came from Japan, and the accessories are just no good, right? So the idea is you take all these accessories off, replace them with your own, and go from there. So they cut literally everything, you know, all the hoses, the wiring harness is cut. So all that shit is just trash as well. So what I'm planning on doing is literally taking this thing down to the bare bones block, and what I'm also going to do is essentially strip this thing down to this point, right? I'm going to get it down to the bare block as well, and I got some rods and pistons coming in for this. But before we could do that, I need to get this thing down and inspect the internals and make sure that the clearances are all good before we just start throwing parts at it. So that's the plan. What's great about this scenario, I now have a spare block if anything goes wrong with this engine in my future build. So, you know, if I'm pushing 30 plus PSI and I throw a rod through the engine block, now I have a spare. This one can be honed out or bored out 20 thousandths over, and you know, it can be used at a later date. Or I could turn it into a coffee table. I don't know. We got the lower main bearing journal cradle. I don't even know what the heck the thing's called, but that thing right there, we got that out. And check out these bearings. I mean, these almost look brand new. So gotta say, this engine from Japan that was advertised as low 50 to 60,000 miles. I think that may be accurate. I don't see any marks where it made contact with the piston. Nice. I don't see any issues there. All the valves look okay. Awesome. Okay. That's all I needed to see. Cool. I'm gonna bring this head to the machine shop, have them go through it, do the valve lash adjustments, place the seals, all that good stuff. But other than that, I'm gonna get these pistons out, and then I'm gonna call it for the night. And I think that will conclude this video. Once I get these pistons out, we'll take a look at the cylinder walls. We'll conclude this video, and then the next video will pick up with the rebuild and the inspection and or checking of the clearances and making sure that this engine block is in spec, ready for new bearings and so on and so forth. The head is 100% getting serviced by a professional. Bottom end, I am taking care of myself. So that is the plan. That is the direction we are going at this point. So unless anything changes, we'll see that through. But all right, let's get these pistons out. Between a 60,000 mile motor and a 160,000 mile motor, let's see what the difference looks like.
160,000 mile motor on the left and a 60,000 mile motor on the right. So pick up the 60,000 mile, get a good look here. Looks like it's all relatively in shape, minus, see 2 marks right here, but can't really feel it with my fingertips. Here's a 160,000 mile motor. Slightly more wear, but overall pretty good. I mean, here's the back, not that it matters too much. And the back of the 60,000. So, if that's any indication. See a little bit of maybe side skirt contact there. This thing probably had a little piston slap action going on. Nothing I don't think that a quick little ball hone would take care of. We got to make sure that the bearing journals are in spec. Make sure that they're not out of round. We're going to make sure that the clearances all make sense. So that'll be in the next video. Get the bottom end all taken care of, and then slap on the head after it's been finished. And then we will begin the journey of putting everything back into the car. Look at this mess. Look at how many parts are scattered everywhere. It's absolutely insane. I have to go through every little bit and make sure, you know, whatever I'm keeping is actually good, and whatever I'm getting rid of and or selling is actually good. So stay tuned for more, guys. Thanks for watching.